Everyone, today is Purim Katan, the small Purim. And that means that normally today would be the day that we would celebrate Purim. We would actually be in costumes now, delivering Shalach Manas, reading the Megillah right now. But because it's a leap year, we celebrate Purim next month. And the question is, we know we have a general rule that's Rizim Akdimim LaMitzvahs, that you should always seize the first opportunity to do a mitzvah. So the question is, if we have the opportunity to do the mitzvahs of Purim today, why would we postpone it for another month? Why wouldn't we seize the first opportunity? The Talmud says the reason we do it next month and not this month is because there's a connection between the story of Purim and the story of Pesach. What's the connection between Purim and Pesach? Pesach was the exodus from Egypt, but the point of the exodus was to get the Torah at Mount Sinai. But we all know what happened. 40 days after the Jews got the Torah, they worshipped the golden calf in this week's Torah portion. The tablets were broken. God gave them a second chance, but unfortunately in the time of the story of Purim, the Jews had assimilated. They had abandoned the Torah. It was only when the threat of Haman appeared and their lives were in danger that they did teshuvah. And as the Megillah says, Kimu v'kiblu al Yehudim, they devoted and dedicated themselves to the observance of Torah, and it was only through their teshuvah that they were miraculously saved. And therefore there's a common theme between Pesach and Purim. Pesach was the time that the Jews left Egypt to go receive the Torah, and Purim is when they devoted themselves and they accepted upon themselves the Torah that they got at Mount Sinai, because when they were put in this perilous experience where their lives were hanging in the balance and their lives were in danger, they realized that they had strayed, they had assimilated, they had lost their Jewish path, and they returned to God. And the truth is that so often in life we make the same mistake. When we have something wonderful, we don't appreciate it. But when there's a threat of losing it, when there's danger, God forbid, suddenly we awaken. And one of the things about Purim Katan, why maybe it's a very joyous day today and we don't say Tachlin, is because all of a sudden we realize we have an extra month to get ready to Purim. It's like we got the gift of an extra month of life. And when we realize we're given a second opportunity, a second chance to appreciate that which we didn't appreciate earlier, like the Jews during the story of Purim, that they appreciated the gift of the Torah only at that point, then we have a cause to celebrate. But in life, the obvious lesson is not to wait till it's too late, to regret it. So often people look forward to the next stages of life. Like people tell me, I can't wait till I retire. Then when they retire, many times they tell me, I'm so bored, I wish I was working, right? Or I can't wait till my kids grow up and get out of the house, we get some peace and quiet. Then when the kids are out of the house, I wish the kids were back in the house. I love that experience of having the little kids in the house. And so too in many stages of life, we're looking forward to something. When it comes, we realize we had it good. Like many people say, I can't wait till I graduate school, get out of college, get a job. Then when they have to work, they say, I wish I was back in school, I was able to study, it was so wonderful, right? Enjoy the stages of life when they're there. You know, and one of the things about the Ten Commandments was we find out that the second tablets, the Torah says, you're able to read it both ways. If you read the stones holding it forward, you can read the Ten Commandments, and miraculously, if you turned it around, you can read it that way too. And it represents the idea of foresight and hindsight. Sometimes we only see things in hindsight. But the blessing of the Torah is that allows us to have hindsight and foresight, because the Torah tells us what's going to happen if we live one way or if we live the other way. So why make the mistakes and then have to regret it and look back? Read the Torah. The Torah will tell you how to live your life optimally, so you don't have to live with regrets, so you can maximize all the gifts of life, whether it's your marriage, your relationship with your children, your relationship with your fellow man, to live a good life so you could live fully and happily and be besimcha, not just on Purim or on other, but every day of your life. It's a story told about a man who always prayed to God. He said, God, I have one request. Could you send me a copy of the Wall Street Journal from this day 1 year from now? Because if I had next year's version of today's dates, Wall Street Journal, I could see exactly where the stock market will be. And I'll know which stocks to invest in. I'll get very wealthy. So God one day answered his request. He goes out to get the paper and he sees it's the Wall Street Journal, today's date, 1 year from now. He says, great, now I know what to do. He immediately turns to the stocks. And he starts writing down which stocks are going to be up, what's going to be down, what he should sell, what should he buy. He starts making a whole plan, how much stocks he's going to buy, how wealthy he's going to become, how much money he's going to make, what he's going to do with all the money, or how he's going to spend it. He's overjoyed. As he finishes getting out his whole stock portfolio from the paper, what he's going to do, invest in, as he's turning the pages, he comes to the obituary column. And there, 1 year later, on this day, he sees his picture and his obit in the paper. And he says, oh, I have 1 year to live. Forget about the stocks and the investments. I better spend this time with my wife, with my kids, with my grandchildren. Make the most to go to shul, daven more, do more mitzvahs before I have 1 year left to live. And that's the message of life. The message of life is it's easy to get distracted. But we have to stay focused, and we have to remember what the goal of life is. And if we stay focused on what the goals, the true meaning and purpose of our existence is, then we get the most joy out of every day, not just in Purim, not just on Purim Katan. And then we could live not just reading the Torah forward, but backward too. We could live a fulfilled and a happy life.